Alright, so this is going to be my technically second video, but it's really going to tell you guys about my journey thus far. We'll start off by I'm 28 years old. I am an office manager and a freelance makeup artist on the side. And I have struggled with my weight since puberty. I didn't have any weight issues before puberty. I was thin for the most part. I mean, when I was younger, I was in beauty pageants. Even as a baby, I was in, baby modeling and whatnot. And it seems like right when I hit puberty, something happened. And first thing started to grow with my boobs. I think I was a D in fourth grade. So it started really, really early. But I didn't seem to, gain any weight anywhere else other than, until I got into, I would say, the 6th grade. Sorry, my dogs are whining because they want to get out of the cage. But yeah, so I didn't really start gaining any weight, and it wasn't crazy amounts of weight until I was in 6th, 7th grade. And it fluctuated. It never really determined who I was at that point. I was always confident for the most part in who I was and what I was, and I knew who I was. So that was that. So then when I hit the age of 18, my boobs were just so big, and I ended up going through my insurance and getting a breast reduction as recommended from my doctors. It was just a very crazy thing. They were I said they were triple D's, but he said that they were G's. So TMI for some people, I'm sorry, but this is just part of my journey. So that's what happened there. I went through my insurance company. 2 weeks later, I got approved. I was in surgery and getting a breast reduction. When I got out of surgery, I remember being like, I didn't know how to feel about it. And then, once I got the breast reduction, I kind of looked at my body and I was like, oh, this is weird. I didn't realize how much my weight was affecting me. And I was starting to see things that I didn't necessarily like. I am all about being a plus size woman and being comfortable in the skin that you're in and being able to be beautiful whatever size you are. I mean, Marilyn Monroe was a size 16, so I am all for being whatever size you feel comfortable, whatever size you feel beautiful, because even the way that I am now, I still think I'm beautiful, and I still have confidence when I go places. It just was becoming a health hazard for me, so we'll get into that. Okay, so 18, get my breast reduction. I'm like, okay, got that done. What else is going on now? It still was hindering my mind a little bit on what I wanted to be. I wasn't really physically active, and I was getting out of breath walking places and going to theme parks and things like that. Things that I like to do normally that I just realized that this started dying off. So I had went to my parents and I had told them that I found out about the gastric bypass. The sleeve was not out yet. This is when I was 18, 10 years ago. More than 10 years ago. Well, no, 10 years ago. So I had went to them and I said about the gastric bypass. My friend's dad got it and he lost so much weight. And so we tried. We tried every single year. We tried through the insurance. We've had the same insurance for 10 years, but we can't really change because of other reasons. It is a really good insurance policy, but it just does not cover any bariatric or weight loss surgery. So then when Obama came into the office, they said there was no pre-existing conditions, that if it was a medical necessity, this is all stuff that we had heard. So at that point, I was like, oh my gosh, like, okay. So literally, I am telling the honest to God truth. I have tried every single year to get this surgery. Not only for the main point of being able to lose the weight, but to keep it off. So about 6 years ago, after 4 years of trying, I just got so fed up. I was in a really bad relationship, and I just said, you know what, I'm just going to start going to the gym, and I'm just going to try it out. You know, my brothers did sports in school. I kind of avoided them. I did play softball. I was really good at that. But I was not that girl. I was just like a diva. Like, I just wasn't active in school or anything. Didn't really like playing sports. I mean, I did cheerleading. I did baton. I did a little bit of soccer, a little bit of taekwondo. But it was only like maybe a year here and there. But I didn't really enjoy it. For the most part, I did singing lessons for 10 years. So that was really my passion, and that's really something that I stuck to more than anything. So after the 4 years of trying, I signed up for a gym membership. My whole family, by the way, is very active. My dad goes to the gym. My mom goes to the gym. My brothers go to the gym. My brothers were in wrestling. They placed in states. I mean, just really, really active family. And here I am, like, too glam to care. You know, that wasn't like my mentality, but it was just, you know, I was always into like makeup and hair and things like that, and I just was not into sports. So I did go to the gym, and I lost about 90 pounds in about, I would say, 6 months. I lost 90 pounds and finally got out of that bad relationship. And then I met my husband. Well, I say husband because, I mean, obviously we met, and obviously we didn't get married right away. But I met him, and he actually is a personal trainer, bodybuilder, powerlifter. He does pretty much everything. But at that point, I was at an okay weight when I met him. And, you know, I don't know if anybody knows, but bodybuilders and powerlifters can pretty much eat whatever they want, and it really just flushes through their system. Like, when you have so much muscle, it just flushes through, and it really, eventually it could catch up to you, but he just could eat whatever he wanted. So, you know, I think anybody, when they get into a happy state, they just eat whatever they want. And that's what I did. And slowly but surely, I saw the weight starting to creep up again. And again, I kept trying every single year for this surgery, thinking that things have changed, and kept getting the runaround. And then I started to see that my depression started deepening. The anxiety I developed anxiety when I was in middle school from personal things that had happened. And I got it under control after a certain amount of time, but then, I don't know, I think as I started to gain the weight back, the depression started getting really severe and deepening, and my anxiety started getting insane, and it was coming to the point where I didn't want to really go anywhere or do anything or be around anybody. I didn't really I was just comfortable being home and not going through those anxieties. And I really wasn't on any medication at that point. I had always, from when I was younger and I was first diagnosed with anxiety and they had put me on something, I never really saw myself taking a pill the rest of my life. I know that sounds crazy for some people, but I wanted to be able to, okay, if I have anxiety, I want to be able to handle it myself, and realize, okay, this is something that I have, and I have to learn how to deal with it, right? So that was my mentality. And, like I said, and then life happens and you have bills and you have this and you have that. And I never, as much as we got married, and everything, there was just a lot of things that were going on in my life. Bills were happening. There were crazy personal experiences that were happening. And I didn't really have one thing to be happy about. I did. I had my family, but that's the way I felt. I felt like there wasn't anything to be happy about. When I looked in the mirror, of course, I've always done my hair and makeup. Always. From this part up, I'm always confident. You know what I mean? That's how my mother raised me and my family raised me, is to, whatever weight that you are, you always want to be presentable. And that's just how I was raised. I was raised by a mostly Italian family. I got a little bit Irish and German in me, but from both of my grandparents to my mother, all hairdressers. It's just take care of yourself, be presentable, nails done, toes done, hair done, makeup done, period, end of story. So that part I was always, but I did always feel just body conscious. There would be some days that like I said, I would be extremely confident, but then there would be others where I just wasn't. And then, recently I have started going back to a therapist, and I just realized that I can't live this way anymore. My feet were swelling. I was gaining weight. I had gained, from August of 2016, I was in the hospital because I had an upper respiratory infection and I had bronchitis. And then I saw my primary doctor, went back to my primary doctor, and he had told me that I had gained 35 pounds in the matter from August to, not even a year later. I don't even know what month it was at this point. So add that to the depression, add that to everything else. And of course you have family members that are always telling you, like, you have such a beautiful face, and, and that kind of, comments like that, it kind of gets to you because you're just like, okay, well, what about, it just gets to you, and you start to think to yourself, well, I have to watch every single thing I put in my mouth. And then there's some people that are just like, I can have whatever I want to have. I can eat whatever I want. And that wasn't me. So then I did find out I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, which doesn't help the situation. I found out I really probably can't have children until I lost weight. And, that being borderline diabetic, which comes with, the polycystic ovarian syndrome. My feet were swelling. It was just getting to the point where it was so bad. My depression was getting so bad. My anxiety was getting so bad. I was secluding myself. I was, just doing erratic things that, like, I just didn't know all these emotions that I was having. I was just making these really